Hello everybody, this is Howard the Teaserking, back for some more. Here's week 7 of college football. I had an interesting week last week. I lost the UCF lock, and I lost like one other game Saturday, and then I hit the Ohio State lock. I had Ohio State under, then I hit all the night games. All the unders came in. The Oregon game was a beautiful under. Washington was a beautiful under. Georgia came through. Just the damn UCF. And when I watched the game, you go on YouTube and you watch it, they totally dominated the game. And the kid, the new quarterback for UCF, throws 2 interceptions in the end zone. So that's 14 points, at least 6. And then he throws a pick 6, which is never done at UCF. So basically, UCF's 21 points better. The pick was absolutely correct, but, that's the problem with it. You can analyze it and pick it, and it's right. It was a good pick. It just, we lost by half a point, getting 2.5, and they lose by 3. And it was just a shame that, it's one of these teams where they can get down there. They should have ran more in the goal line and ran it in. But that's what happens. That's when pocket aces get beat. So I was like, well, what's going on? What's a strange score? UCF should be up 20 points. I'm getting 2.5. Cincinnati's not that good. UCF's much better. It just happened. New England loses once in a while. Oklahoma loses once in a while. So anyway, that's what happened. But it was a very good week. Had a very good Sunday, going 5-0 on my strong plays. I didn't lock any games, but I played Minnesota, Chicago, and New England in 2 teasers. So I'm not sure if everybody gets when I'm doing my picks what I'm doing. The object is to put the team that you like the most. If you already like it, let's say the Minnesota over the Giants. Well, if you think it's going to win, you play it in 2 teasers. Or you play a 3-team teaser, a 4-team teaser. So when I mark them, and I'm marking units, I'm saying a 15 unit's very strong, an 11 unit's very strong, and then the 9 unit, the 7 unit. I very rarely play a 5 unit. If I got to play 5 units, it's not worth playing. So I try to weed those games out as my loser. But, so overall, I winning wise, I had a good week. I actually had a positive record, picking more teasers right than wrong, but I missed the lock on UCF, and that's where one game kind of hurt the thing. And then my lock bettors, they lose that game, and I try to tell them, don't let one game beat you. Pocket aces get beat. That's why I say it. It was a good pick, and that's all you can do is make a good pick before the game. So anyway, that's what happened. Let's move on to this week. This week is a huge board. I've already played a lock, 15 units, very strong lock. I've got another 11 unit that I didn't lock, but I really like it. And then I got a few others that I'm thinking of playing, just waiting for the spreads to go. So as I look at the board, you have, it's getting easier. Like as soon as I see the game, I go, yeah, I'm going to lock that game. I had I've already studied so much that when I see the teams. Now I still got to look at other games I got to dig into, like, let's say, Louisiana Lafayette, Appalachian State tonight. Louisiana Lafayette's an excellent team. This isn't my pick. I'm just talking here. And Appalachian State's a very good team. I think they beat North Carolina. And go figure, North Carolina should have beat Clemson. But they're an outstanding team, and that spread went up to like 2. But that's where you got to do a little digging. Or, the Kent-Akron game or the Arkansas-Kentucky game. See, those, they're not coming off the tongue very easily. You got to, who's injured, what's going on. Kentucky's not last year's team. And that's where you get stuck a little bit, thinking, well, Kentucky was so strong last year, but they're not as strong this year, so you got to get off of them. And then the key is finding the new Kentucky, the new UCF, the new that, and that's what we look at. So here's the games for today. So I'm looking at great teams, the A's, and terrible teams, the Z's. I don't know what else to call them. It's just to make it easy for me. So if you score 40 a game, give up 10, you're an A team. You're solid everywhere. You get an A. If you have a weak offense and a terrible defense, so you score 10 and give up 40, I call you a Z. And from doing all my analysis on the trend analysis on the teasers, home favorite, home dog, how was their record? As I know, and it's more in the pros than in college, but it's because you don't have 40-point spreads in the pros. When you find the bad teams with the weak offenses, you can bet against them and win all the time because they don't score enough and their defense sucks. So in the NFL, the teams really want to get the win, right? It's so hard to get a win. And it's big business, so they want to make the playoffs, and so if they get a weak opponent, they kill them. In college, a couple weeks ago, like UCF was laying 42 after their loss to Connecticut, and they're up 42-0 at half. Well, what happened was the second half they didn't play their starters, and so they ended up winning by like 30, and you're like, Jesus, I can't lay 40 in a game because they're going to pull their team. Where in the NFL, you got New England laying 15 a lot, but they cover because they're not pulling Tom Brady. Their defense is still strong. They're not putting in their second team, and the other team just can't do anything. So they win comfortably, and then maybe they bring in the backup in the last 2 minutes of the game. But Brady really doesn't like to come out. But so with that said, so what I like doing, so I find the Z's, and I'll give you help on the Z's. Z's are Texas State and Rutgers and Bowling Green and New Mexico State and Kent and Akron, who play each other, and Connecticut and Nevada and UTSA, Texas San Antonio, and Massachusetts. These are the teams that are terrible and tend to get pounded. But normally if you play a decent team against them, you're laying 40 points, and it's kind of sometimes hard to bet them. Last week you had a situation that I didn't bet that I regretted. Was Maryland was only 14 over Rutgers. You lay 8 and they win by 50. So that's, I kind of like said, damn, I shouldn't have missed that one. Rutgers is terrible. Even Michigan put up 40, 50 points on them. That's how bad Rutgers are. So let's go to the Connecticut Tulane game. A versus a Z. I've got Tulane laying 33.5, over under 60. Connecticut, if we look at the numbers here, okay, Connecticut scores 18 a game, gives up 38. Yes, they played UCF, who put up 50 some on them, and it actually helped their offense because they put up 20 or 30 on UCF. Excuse me, I've been real tired lately because of the second teamers. So they throw for 200 a game, they run for 100, they only get 300 yards of total offense. Well, let's look at Tulane. Now Tulane just beat the Army they put up 42 on the Army, which shows you how good their offense is. They got a great quarterback, that's Justin McMillan. He runs the option, but he's very good at throwing. They score 37 a game. They give up 21, so they got a good defense and a good offense. So they're going to score in the 40s in this game, probably more. They scored 40 on Army. They get 185-yard passing and 283 on the ground. They are like a Navy and an Army offense in the fact they do the triple option, but they're more like Air Force that they can throw the ball. So Tulane here, 500 yards of offense, Connecticut 300. So you've got a huge gap here where a team scoring 38 against the team giving up. So Connecticut, how does upsets happen? It's defense. So I had Tulane playing Temple, I would never lay this kind of wood. Temple's got a very good, they got the best defense in the AAC, or a team like Arizona State or Oregon lays 80. That was the beauty last week. Oregon and Cal. Oregon gives up 9 points a game and Cal 18, and that was like such a strong play. I had it at least twice. It was a beautiful play, Cal. But see, that's the point. So I'm looking at the defenses. Two good defenses play the game under. So in this situation, that's not what you have. Now, can you go over in the game? Well, 60 points, it's hard to, because I think Tulane scores in the 40s, maybe even the 50s. I can't count on Connecticut to do a whole lot. So I don't think, so when you're looking at it that way, going, can we get to the over? Will Connecticut score on Tulane, who's got a good defense? And you go, I don't know, let's look at Connecticut's quarterback. And when you look at Connecticut's quarterback, you go, here's this kid, Mike Boudry. He's played in 2 games, so I don't know if he's injured or the other. No, I think the other guy, Zerquitas, is injured. But anyway, Boudry's the best one. Throws for 185, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. If it's the other 2, Zakursky throws for 124 with 4 interceptions and no touchdowns. The only one that's good is Krajewski, 3 touchdowns and 1 interception. No, there's no big threat there. They're not going to throw the ball all over. Well, let's look at Tulane, for example. Justin McMillan, a running quarterback who can throws 54% and 162 yards passing a game for a running team, 6 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. That's what you're looking for. So when I look at it, I see 33.5 and 34. I'll bet it at the 33.5. I can get it to 27.5, which is under 28. Tulane will clearly score at least in the 40s, and they'll probably get some touchdowns off of turnovers. Connecticut's just terrible. They get buried every game. Like I said, so last week, so let's look at the Connecticut game last week. They were playing South Florida, and they lost 48-22, and South Florida is an 11-point favorite. South Florida's terrible. So look at South Florida's numbers. They score 26 a game and give up 30. So that's why it was 48-22, because South Florida's defense isn't that good. So Connecticut scored 20. So they still beat them by 26, giving up 22. With a weak South Florida that only scores 26, they only average 340 yards a game. So I mean, that's a South Florida team who's not bad, who's not good in Connecticut, and they beat them by 26. That's what I'm talking about. So let's go to the numbers, although there's not really much to see here. When we look at Connecticut is a road dog, 4-4 since 18, against 6-2, so they're not a good road dog. And Tulane is a home favorite. So how are they? You think teams are better at home. And there's Tulane, 4-1 is a home favorite, 2-0 is a home dog, 6-1 at home. And if we go back to 17, and overall they're 11-5. They're not a good road dog. They must play tough teams on the road. You know how these teams play. So Tulane, if we go back to 17, 6-3 is a home favorite, 4-0 is a home dog, 10-3 at home, 18-10. So they're not. Again, their problem is on the road. This is the whole point of psychology and understanding the team, the chemistry and everything. They're better at home. When they go on the road, they're 5-5 as a road dog. So if this game was in Connecticut, well, if this game was at UCF, I wouldn't take them because they're not a good road dog. But as a home favorite, they're very good. Personality, that's the word I was looking for. And here's Connecticut, 9-5 as a road dog since 17, 10-4 against, 20-7 against overall. So you can see, and keep in mind they're getting 30 points in most games. So they're not even like, it's just stay within 30 and they cover, which I really, that's the problem with some of these teams is you mark them like that. You mark them and then it's, they're a good road dog. Well, they're really not. They're losing by 30, but because the spread's so high, the losing by 30 is a good number. So anyway, I like Tulane laying the 27.5, 28 if you have to. They should easily win by 40. Well, let's just say they'll put up 50 points. If they don't put up 50 points, I'll be shocked. They should, because they have a good quarterback, good running attack. See, the running attack really piles the points up because you tire out the defense and there's nothing they can do. And sometimes a quarterback gets intercepted, like UCF last week. The kid got intercepted 3 times, twice at the goal line, and one was a pick. The third was a pick 6. So, but if you're a running team, you just pound it down their throat. You don't do these turnovers. You get a fumble once in a while, but not as likely. And then you just pile it up. So anyway, that's the pick for the week. Take Tulane, laying the 33.5, 34. I apologize. I'm congested. And I don't know. I got to go to the doctor for the antibiotics or whatever. Anyway, take Tulane minus the points. Again, 4 lock team this week. 2 lock plays with the 4 teams. And put them, like here, you can put the lock with Tulane. You can play a 4-team teaser with the 4 locks. Excuse me. So anyway, so this should be a very good week. A lot of good plays. My friends are saying, now it should get better because you got more information. I said, absolutely. Now we're getting into week 7 in college. Pretty much I know all the teams. There's none that have played high school teams, except Alabama hasn't played anybody. But look at Clemson. They played North Carolina and they should have lost. And one comment about that, these coaches are so stupid. I hate when they go for 2 to try to win the game. If you can kick the extra point to tie the game and go to overtime, you kick the freaking extra point because it's a 99% chance, especially in college, you're going to make the extra point. It's not even 50-50 that you're going to make the 2-point conversion. So the risk and the reward, most of the time, you're not going to make the 2 and you're going to lose the game. So if I kick the extra point, at least I'm going to overtime. I just drove the ball. I just scored. And, so even in the pros, these coaches, Jacksonville coach is an idiot. In the pros, you got to go for the extra. You got to go to overtime because it's only 10 minutes. You could end in a tie or you could easily score to win. Or even if you don't, you probably get the tie. But in this situation, the guy misses the 2. He's missed it a lot, and then they lose. And you can't lose. You got to tie and play the cards. You can't lose, and you're not going to be successful, especially in the pros, going for 2 very often. Brady does it. They're very smart about it. They have the play action, or I would do the throw to the quarterback or something like that if I'm going to go for 2. I'm not running it up the middle against 10 guys and he doesn't even get back to the line of scrimmage. I mean, that offensive coordinator should be fired who does that. All right, anyway, www.teaserking.com. Very strong week college, very strong week pro, locks in both. Should be a very strong week. All right, everybody, have a great weekend. www.teaserking.com.